Guys, the interest of Arsenal in Arda Guler has been registered. It has been longing, and Arsenal have been really trying to obviously get in this guy and sign him. I'm talking about Arda Guler. Smash the like button, comment, and share. If you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokani David being my name, and hope you guys are really doing fine wherever you are in there for you. And let's continue to subscribe, see to it that all really goes on well as planned for us. So Arda Guler, I tell you this, he's one of those players that is really a joy to watch. Good for the eye, even before he crossed from Fenerbahce to Real Madrid. Clubs like Arsenal, Manchester United, Barcelona, and Real Madrid were interested in him. And he most wanted to go to Barcelona. But do you know what happened? Barcelona told him, we are going to sign you, but you're not taking you to Barcelona. We'll take you next season because of the financial problems they really had. And Real Madrid kicked in and told him, for us, we are signing you now. And guess who called him? It was Luka Modric, and told him, you're obviously going to be taking my shirt number 10 when I leave in there for you. So Arsenal has gone ahead to again register interest in signing this player. That's what we're obviously going to be discussing hugely about onto this channel known as the Rokani Media Football. Smash like button for as long as you are watching this video. Let's see lots of things coming in here as they unfold. Monchi, who was the former sporting director or director of football at Aston Villa, has come out and spoken out on why Aston Villa went ahead to miss out on Asensio, because he really went ahead to have what we call a very good loan spell from PSG, and Asensio was really up and running, and he did a lot of things in there. So we wait and see. Now, to show you that this interest is genuine, Fabrizio Romano had something to tell us, that Arsenal had planned to go in for Arda Guler if at all Carlo Ancelotti stayed at the club of Real Madrid. You understand? So, and in his post, he said, Arsenal considered the possibility of signing Arda Guler last October/November in case Carlo Ancelotti stayed or Real Madrid opened the doors to an exit in a similar situation of Martin Odegaard. This was before Andre Batha got appointed, after there was no chance. So Arsenal, we are looking in for another player to play as a number 10 and a versatile player, because for Arda Guler, he can play as a right forward where Bukayo Saka plays. He can also play as a central attacking midfielder in there. So they wanted to obviously bring him in at the club of Arsenal because they thought that he was not going to have ample playing time at the or in the team of Real Madrid, because Ancelotti never at any one time believed in this lad. However much he was one of those who convinced him to come, but you know, for Real Madrid, a manager doesn't have a say in the players that are obviously going to come in through, especially if at all the top man, that is Florentino Perez, wants to sign that player. The manager doesn't have any say, I tell you. So that's all about a side known as Arsenal. They wanted to bring him in, but when Andre Batha came in through, the plan really changed, because Edu couldn't really sanction any signing in the January transfer window of this year. Do you know why? Because he was leaving, and how could you let a sporting director who is leaving to obviously sign new players? And they kept the entire budget for Andre Batha. The other reason as to why Arda Guler never came into Arsenal was because when Alonso was named the manager of Real Madrid, he told Arda Guler that I have you hugely in my plans. You understand? I have you hugely in my plans. And he immediately orchestrated that in the FIFA Club World Cup, the tournament they first participated in, where he went ahead to obviously give Arda Guler to start every game that Real Madrid went ahead to play in the FIFA Club World Cup. And he has continued to do that in these games that you've gone ahead to see Arda Guler really feature in for the side of Spain, so the side of Real Madrid. So that really made it very, very, very hard for us to obviously see to it that it goes the way Arsenal wanted it to go. So it shows you that the interest is genuine for Arda Guler, and Fabrizio Romano is really very okay with this. And again, you might say that Arsenal are the ones that really engineered the non-coming of Arda Guler to the club of Arsenal, because the moment they knocked Real Madrid out of the Champions League, that meant that Carlo Ancelotti was leaving, because even in the league, La Liga, he had no chance of obviously winning it. You understand? So that is it. So I wanted to give you that breakup because the source that I was going to obviously bring in this story is not a tier 1, tier 2. I think it's a tier 3 story, a tier 3 source. But I was really trying to cement a very good foundation for you to understand that there has always been genuine interest for Arda Guler at the club of Arsenal. And we've been told that Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur willing to do whatever it takes to sign Arda Guler. The Real Madrid midfielder has also interest from AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund, Newcastle, and RB Leipzig. Now, the source is Grada 3. So, the big question goes and reads that, do you think Arda Guler can leave Real Madrid? That is the big question. Do you think Arda Guler can leave Real Madrid? That is the big question that really deserves an answer in here. And I tell you what, nothing in football is really impossible. If you've watched football for some time, you can all agree with me that everything in football is really possible. You know that very well. So, for the side of Arsenal, I think Arda Guler is a very good player. But the question is, where will he play? That is the question, because he is a multi-dimensional player, as I told you. He can play in like 3-4 positions on the pitch. But Arsenal has invested hugely into that side, because in the central midfield, in the attacking position, you are having Odegaard, you are having Ebelechi Eze, you are having Waneri. And if you bring him in, what message are you saying to Waneri? Yet I believe that Waneri is a player who really has the culture, and he has grown in the culture of Arsenal, and he has gone through all the rankings of the academies. So, and at the look of things, I don't think that Waneri is not at the level of Arda Guler. I think the lad is special. Let's all admit. The lad is special, and we can all admit that he's really one of those that you need to obviously look at and really understand that you need to see to it that all really goes on well as planned for him. So, in my understanding, I think Arsenal don't need Arda Guler. I don't know what you think about it, but for me, Arsenal don't need Arda Guler. But they might be a side. There might be reasons why they need the player, because they might be going to move on some players, you understand? And they might be like having a different plan for Ethan Waneri. Let's go on to the right attacking side of the midfield, or the right forward. Arsenal has the following players: Bukayo Saka, Noni Madueke, and a player called what's his name? He goes by the names of Arsenal has this other player. He goes by the names of, he's called Max Doman, you know. Max Doman is 15 years of age and is marking 16 this year, obviously. But you have to look through this and ask, Arda Guler is in his early 20s. Look at Max Doman performing in the Premier League at the age of 15. And I think Arsenal needs more of Max Doman than Arda Guler. And if I told you Arda Guler, also you have to weigh in and ask yourself, where I'm going, am I obviously going to be getting in ample playing time as I'm getting in at Real Madrid? The answer is no, because the manager at Real Madrid believes in Arda Guler and he thinks he is going to be the next number 10 who will replace Luka Modric. And he's really doing great in the La Liga as a player. He has gone ahead to play 8 games in the La Liga, meaning he has played almost every game. He has scored 3 goals and he has 3 assists. Last season, he played 28 games, 3 goals and 4 assists. Now, he has almost leveled his stats in the league for last season in a space of just 8 games. In the Champions League, 2 games played, 0 goals, 1 assist, and I think there is no chance for him to come in through at the club of Arsenal in there. But things can change at Real Madrid, because if you've been watching me at the channel as the United Matters channel, I've already told you that there is a chance of Bruno Fernandes being available as a number 10. And if Florentino Perez has the money, there is no way you're going to tell him that, please, don't sign a player known as what's his name? Don't sign Bruno Fernandes because you're really having Arda Guler. He'll be like, Madrid has to win now. Let Arda Guler be an understudy for Bruno Fernandes. And when Bruno Fernandes comes in through, obviously Arda Guler can only feature into the team of Real Madrid as a right forward. You understand? So that's exactly how things are really panning out. And all we have to do is simple, We just have to wait in and see whether Arda Guler will obviously stay at the club of Real Madrid. All Arsenal will obviously come in. But Spurs has shown interest in other teams, but I don't think that a player who is really getting that much playing time, is really, really good to go, I don't really feel like it's really worth a quit at Real Madrid. I believe if I told him him, I stay there for some time and then I see how long Alonso will be here. Unless otherwise, there is really an intel to this source that maybe Alonso is obviously going to be sacked. But with Alonso at Real Madrid, understand that this guy, the lad, is going to get in ample playing time. He'll play a lot of games in this team of Real Madrid. There is no chance Alonso could let him go or leave, unless otherwise they sign a number 10 who cannot obviously go to the bench. But I've told you that even if they sign a Bruno Fernandes as a number 10 for Real Madrid, that is in the summer, Arda Guler will be played as a right attacking midfielder. That is it. Unless they get Mohamed Salah and Bruno Fernandes at once, then Arda Guler won't have space to obviously play in any of those teams in there for you. So that's all about Arsenal and Arda Guler interest in there. But Arda Guler, during the international break, he went ahead to obviously show Real Madrid, Arsenal, and other teams that really love him that I'm really great. He played 68 minutes against Bulgaria, 61 touches, 1 goal, 2 assists, 34 out of 40 passes completed. He had a 90% completion rate, 7 passes to the final third, 4 key passes, 4 chances created, 4 duels won, and 4 recoveries for Arda Guler for you. So, Arda Guler is really one of those that is a man to watch. And he will turn out to be that player that everyone thinks he was supposed to be. So let's leave Arda Guler there, and I'll be calling in for your reaction to the comment section below about Arda Guler and what you really think about the player in there. So from Arda Guler, let's obviously jet deep into a Marco Asensio situation. Real Madrid is so much into this story because even Marco Asensio, before he crossed to PSG, he left Real Madrid as a free agent. Madrid wanted to keep him, but he called in for some huge wage, and Madrid were like, we can't match it. And when PSG matched it, PSG emerged as his next destination, and he really played there, and he was loaned to Aston Villa. But Aston Villa wanted to keep him after that loan spell of last season, but We now know the reason as to why they never really kept him, because of Monchi, their former footballing director, coming out and really telling us the truth about this. He said the following: I thought he was going to end up at Villa, which was the objective, but well, in the end, mainly for financial reasons, because PSG were being tougher on us. Marco was also worried. He was nervous because he saw the market transfer going on and the deal was not closing, so he opted for Fenerbahce, and well, let's hope for his luck. We all thought that he could end up at Villa because he had also had a very good 6 months previously. So the side of PSG never made it easy for the lad to join Aston Villa because of their financial requests. That is it. And those financial requests were really very huge, and no one could obviously handle them into the mix. So as it stands, the side of Aston Villa pulled out and said, all right, let him go to where he wants to go. But they are at a certain point willing to obviously hold in a little bit and see how things will pan out. But the player was really frustrated and was like, the World Cup is on next year. I need to have settled into a club. And as it stands, I don't find it sane to not really go to another club, because PSG looks like it's making it hard for me to come out and obviously play for Aston Villa. And even PSG were not willing to offer a loan spell, another loan spell. You understand? The loan spell was not yet to be offered to the player in there for you. So that's all about Marco Asensio, and he ended up going to play for a side called what's that side? Is it Fenerbahce? Yeah, I think he's playing for Fenerbahce, and so far he has played 4 games and he has 1 goal there. In the UEFA Europa League, 2 matches, 0 goals, 0 assists. That is Marc Asensio for you, 29 years of age, a man whose career I thought could obviously blossom more than this, but he's not really hitting the levels I really thought he could obviously hit. You understand? So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Rokani David is my name, and hope you guys are really having fun. And your reactions to Arda, Guler, to Arsenal interest are welcome in the comment section below. Then Marco Asensio missing out on Aston Villa. Who do you think was to blame? Could Marc Asensio had waited in a little bit longer to see his dream move come true, or he really fidgeted and he was really in a rush, and patience was not his best neighbor in this particular transfer season? I'm out. Bye-bye.